Alright guys, got something spicy for you today. We're doing a TF2 tier list. Yeah, I'm doing it. So, I'm just gonna start with the stock. And you know, stock Scattergun. Honestly, best tier. I don't think anyone's got a problem with that. That's where it belongs. It's the best Scattergun in the game, I'm sorry. Now for melee, the atomizer. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in A tier. Like, you know, no, I'm just gonna start with the stock too. I'm putting the stock bat in D tier. You should not be using your melee scout. You have a shotgun. If you're gonna hit someone while you're up close, use your shotgun. There's no reason to use this thing. There's literally no reason to use it. Right, next up, the Babyface's Blaster. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in C tier. Honestly, the speed drain is way too punishing, and I just overall see this as more detrimental. Like, if they could like reduce how much speed you lose on hit, like, you know, just 25 damage to reduce your boost to 0. I'd rather it take like, you know, 300 damage to like fill up your boost all the way and make it like take like, I don't know, 100 damage to fully get rid of it. Like, I get at that point, you know, you're basically dead already, but it just makes it better to use and not feel like, you know, you're getting punished, but also makes it so you're not just immediately at full speed after one meat shot. Next up, the backscatter. You know, I'm gonna put this in C tier, but higher than the Babyface's Blaster, and that's because why would you use this thing? Like, I honestly don't see a reason to. This is just worse stock. It's just worse stock. If you're gonna be using, if you want the regular stock Scattergun experience, just use the stock Scattergun. There's no reason to use this. There's nothing to it. That mini crit is not gonna save you, especially with how close you have to get and how specific. Like, what is it, 90 degrees? It's not worth it for a mini crit. You'd be better off just frontal assaulting someone. So it goes in C tier. Next up, we've got the what is it, Babyface? No, not Babyface Blaster. This is the Force of Nature. Jesus Christ, I'm having a stroke. Force of Nature. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I know some of you are probably thinking, why not, you know, if you're gonna use something different, why not just have something with even more shots? Because, you know, this one's got 4 shots, this one's only got 2. This thing at least has burst fire potential, where you could, like, you know, fire off 2 shots quickly. And I feel like it's a bit more consistent than going for, you know, some random mini crit with less accuracy. And then next up, we've got the Soda Popper. I'm gonna put this above the Force of Nature specifically because it does the same thing, but, you know, it doesn't push someone away, so you can more consistently get that, you know, quick burst down on a light class. Also, this thing does give you an extra jump, but you know, it's nice, but I don't see it as that. I don't want to say it's not useful, but I don't think it comes into play too often. All right, next up we've got the Bonk Atomic Punch, and I'm gonna put this in B tier. Honestly, like, it's got a use, you know, get out of jail free card, or, you know, get past the choke point to, like, you know, harass the back line. But overall, I feel like you'd be better off just having a weapon. So, you know, it's gonna stay in B tier for now. Next up, we've got the Boston Basher. And you know what? I want to put this thing in A tier along with the Atomizer. This thing, you know, it's got the utility of helping your medic build uber faster. Not really gonna do that too much. I'm thinking this of, like, in general pub situations, not really in competitive. But overall, you know, it's got something to go with it. And even still, if you are gonna melee with this, which you shouldn't, but if you are going to, at least, you know, it's gonna do more damage. Like, there's no damage penalty like the Tribalman Shiv, but that's another weapon for another class, so we'll leave that one alone. But overall, this one has a utility, so I see it. Honestly, you know, I'm gonna put it in B tier. Actually, no, it's A tier. It's just honestly, it's essentially a direct upgrade from stock. All right, this one's gonna be a spicy one. The Candy Can. I'm putting this thing in D tier. This thing makes you take extra damage at all times from explosives. 25% extra damage. If it was 20%, then maybe, you know, it'd be a little higher, but 25% means you're getting one shot by pills, and you're probably getting one shot by rockets too, if they're close enough to you. This thing just puts you at too much risk for me to say it's worth using. So it's going to go in D tier. Next up, the Criticola. This one might be a little controversial too. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I don't see having mini crits on your shotgun while also taking mini crit damage as worth it, where you could just have, you know, a weapon to use. You know, instead of putting yourself at more risk to make your primary better, just have a fallback weapon that's actually good. And Scout's pistols are good. Next up, Phantom War. You know, I'm gonna put it in D tier, but it's better than the rest of these. Like, I'm gonna be honest, this thing's a waste of time. Why are you smacking someone for mini crits when you could just shoot them twice? You're wasting your time. D tier, that's where you go. Next up, we've got the Cleaver. And you know what? I'm gonna put the Cleaver above these guys. Actually, well, okay. The secondaries and the primaries are being ranked separately, but, you know, you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna put this above these two because, I mean, it's still a weapon. You know, it's a weapon on a cooldown, so you don't have much uptime, but it's still pretty powerful and gives Scout a bit more range with it. But overall, you know, if I wanted a weapon, I just have a pistol. But, you know, it's at least a weapon. Next up, we've got the Mad Milk, and this is going straight into A tier. Like, honestly, the Milk is very powerful in a 1v1. like or not even just for a 1v1, but also supporting your team. You want to extinguish your teammate, you know, scorch shot pyros, lighting everyone on fire. You throw this thing down, you extinguish everyone, or you know, you get yourself lifesteal to make fights easier for you and your team. But honestly, yeah, I just don't see anything bad about it if you aren't gonna take a weapon. Like if I'm not taking a weapon, I'm taking this with me. But overall, yeah, I see this thing is pretty good. Next up, the pistol. You know what? I'm gonna put it in A tier. I can see a reason to, like, you know, think between these two as to why you'd use them. I think they're both like the pistol's extremely powerful. Like if usually I'm just gonna run the pistol because there's a lot of power in there that people tend to underestimate, and this thing is just good. All right, the pretty boy's pocket pistol. This is just going straight to S tier. If you want a weapon, just use the pocket pistol. I'm just gonna say it. Like you've got higher DPS just for a little bit less sustain than the regular pistol. Like this thing's honestly, I'll say it, a bit overtuned because you're basically combining this and this together for yourself. So you've got a weapon, it shoots fast, it's got 9 shots in the clip, so you're not missing out on that much ammo. And you know, high DPS, you still heal. It's good. Like with the damage vulnerability. Sandman, this is gonna be controversial too. I'm putting this thing in D tier. Do I say it's better? I'm gonna say it's worse than the Phantom War. You know, I'm gonna say it's worse than stock. I'm saying it. You're missing out on 15 extra HP for a terrible projectile. If it was still the old Sandman where you'd stun someone, I'd easily put this in A tier. But overall, I just see 15 HP for a mediocre projectile is not really worth it. And you know what? Just to put that in the same vein, I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna put this in A tier. Do I think, you know, I think the Boston Basher might be a bit better. And well, I'm gonna just keep these all. Honestly, these three, all interchangeable in my opinion. But yeah, this is just a free projectile. This is just free range damage for Scout because you shouldn't be going up and boxing people or bopping people, I should say. Like if you're meleeing someone a Scout, you're goofing off when you could just be shooting them. Like it'd genuinely be better off to just reload a shot and shoot them instead of trying to hit them like 2 or 3 times for 30 damage or 35 damage, however much Scout does. Overall, you'd be better off just not using a melee in general and just getting a free projectile, deals decent damage, and has bleed on it. This is a good engagement tool. Overall, I just see it as better than just like, why would you be running stock? And this thing's projectile doesn't provide you with too much, a mild slowdown for 15 max HP. Not worth it in my eyes. All right, next up, we've got the shortstop. And you know what? You guys might think I'm crazy. I'm gonna put this thing in A tier. Overall, I see it as still competent in close range and just better at mid-range than all the other guns. So it's got that niche of being mid-range while not really sacrificing too much at long range. You guys might be thinking, well, these two have 4 shots. Why is it down here with these? These things just are essentially stock but worse. This thing's stock, or, you know, it's different enough from stock to give it a role. And it's actually good at its role. Therefore, I believe it belongs in A tier. It's on a stick. Let's see. I'm going to put it in C tier. You're probably wondering why it's above everything else. This thing actually gives you a fire damage resistance by 25%. It's not a lot, but it's a utility. And your utility is going to be the main thing that I think about for a Scout melee. But yeah, overall, the sonar stick, you know, if someone is on fire, you can hit them with it. Hooray, you shouldn't. But overall, it gives you something. Mild fire resistance, you know, it's good for afterburn. It'll give you enough time to run to that health pack. So overall, I see this thing as worth using. All right, and then next up, we've got the Winger. Part of me wants to put it in S tier because it's a pretty good weapon, but overall, like, yeah, the jumps are very nice, but I feel like what it's providing you compared to, like, you know, what you could gain in terms of combat or, you know, with this thing, combat and support. Overall, I put it slightly one step below the regular pistol. But yeah, so there goes my Scout tier list. And if you guys want me to move anything, or, you know, you guys have differing opinions, let me know in the comments. Okay, you know what? I took a second while editing to take a look at everything. You know what? I've decided I'm going to move the Phantom War and the stock into C tier. These two belong in D tier because they're actively detrimental. These two just provide you basically nothing. Well, this one provides you nothing. This one provides you basically nothing. This one a little bit more than nothing, but not much more. So honestly, yeah, I just want to make that little distinction here. These are detrimental. These are just meh. So yeah, I just want to change that.